After 14 years without a proper James Bond game, Bond is finally back, loaded to the brim with gadgets and weapons to help save Britain from the terrors of evil. However, Q gave me a booty call on the Smurf-sized radio transmitter and informed me that someone had left a pizza in the oven and accidentally burnt the Q lab down, leaving me with nothing but a pistol, my fists, and a smeared pair of boxers. Thanks, Q. I believe these are yours. And not only will we be restricted to only using a pistol and no gadgets, but we'll also be doing this on the hardest difficulty in the game, Purist. This means counter glints are removed, bullets and punches from enemies hit harder, and without the use of our Q watch, we had to go in the analog route of completing our missions using nothing but our suave and charming personality.
Bond. James Bond.
With the challenge set up and my morale already feeling down, the question was simple. Can you beat 007 First Light on the hardest difficulty in the game using only a pistol and no gadgets? Okay, let's start this challenge. Purist. With Purist difficulty selected and our fate sealed, we boarded what can only be described as a budget Jet 2 holiday flight to Iceland. We asked the pilot how long we had left, and he told us we'd know when we were close.
Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday.
This is the kind of service I expected. Gasping our way out of the water and onto the shore, the first order of business was to get some signal. Mum, I'm stuck. I'm stranded on the island. I'm all alone. I think I might have soiled myself. Mom, I require some immediate assistance and ask Q for those boxes back. Sneaking into the camp, we overheard the locals discussing bombs, found the scientists' bodies, accidentally got poisoned by a nerve agent, rushed to the conveniently placed medical center and found 2 syringes we couldn't tell apart. And after being warned to not take both, we took both.
Here goes nothing.
We woke up having subverted the poison, and we realised we had also injected an aura-infused mystery liquid, increasing our aura 100 times. MI6 told us to leave as we had below 1% chance of survival if we tried to save the hostages in the adjourning 2 containers. 0.07% chance to be exact.
I'll take those odds.
We headed to the first container, using a flare as a distraction, worked out our way around the outside, and before we reached the door, we were spotted and immediately found ourselves in our first bout of fisticuffs.
We thank thee, Lord, that in thy Come on, then! What?
3 against 1, which is where we quickly established that the enemies on Purists hit considerably harder than expected. They kept trying to call their mates in, so we kept hitting the ones reaching for their radios.
There you are.
We freed the first group of hostages and shifted to the second container by sneaking around, got spotted almost immediately, dealt with another 3 enemies, and freed the second group, who were gifted a detonator. We brought a 50-foot pole down, and during our escape, an enemy raised his gun at the fleeing hostages, and with our aura now injected into our veins, instinctively tackled him to the floor. Wrestled him for the weapon, and the game asked us to shoot. Now, my last video was God of War fists only, and this is relevant context for what happened, because we sat there for a moment, spamming square, refusing to press the shoot button, as I thought we were doing a fists only run. Then I audibly remembered it wasn't. It's against the challenge. Oh no, it's not against the challenge, here, right? Without any hesitation whatsoever, we crushed the R2 button, and we officially recorded our first kill. We then sent a payload with wheels towards the tank that was in our way, made it to the edge of the cliff, and surrounded by enemies, we threatened to blow up whatever's in the facility.
MI6 would never. I'm not MI6.
The classic Bond title sequence rolled, Lana Del Rey did her thing, and we were off to Malta.
I want to make you a spy.
You what?
I'm a what?
This consisted of a training montage, a quick punch-up with Monroe, and completed a flag retrieval course where we dispatched 13 enemies with our fists. We then snuck into camp the night before to steal the objective early, just so we could take the day off. Greenaway's face, when we revealed this the next morning, sat somewhere between impressed and absolutely furious. What would you even call that? Pissed? We were then escorted to Q Lab, where Q presented us with a brand new watch, state-of-the-art, cutting edge, a marvel of miniaturized technology that could navigate hostile environments, see through walls, and interface with any electronic system within range. However, this particular one didn't have all the bells and whistles and could only tell the time, which made it the most expensive watch in Britain. Then halfway through training, the servers disconnected. A minor inconvenience, telling ourselves it was just a one-off. Disclaimer: it was not. We were finally in a club, drink in hand, pretending MI6 had a concept of work-life balance.
It's to everything not MI6.
Then our phone buzzed, and we were sent on a field mission and told to find someone in red at the bar. We found her, delivered the secret code word, and she told us it was a shite chat-up line.
The epithelium oxypetalum only blossoms at night. What the hell do you think you're doing?
And her boyfriend overheard, and he wasn't impressed either. We palmed them both off and found another person in red who told us the dossier was deep in the recesses of the toilet, because nothing says elite espionage like classified intelligence sitting next to a pool of someone's golden shower. After collecting the intel and attempting to leave, the insecure boyfriend followed us in to teach us a lesson. So we taught him about interior design by introducing his skull to every wall, shelf and urinal in the vicinity.
Oh, you got a stout?
The person of interest was located in the upstairs lounge, and getting up there required a VIP stamp. We eavesdropped on a woman shouting the code word down her phone, passed this information to Jacksepticeye, received the stamp, and headed up to hack Pike's phone.
Data extraction.
We then bumped into the red dress lady again. So our chat out line wasn't that bad, and took a side hustle as a waiter, completed our phone hack, and then gave Pike the prison treatment in the supply room. We headed down to meet Pike's contact, and while we were gathering intel, the woman in red reappeared and nearly torched the entire mission. So we told her to return to her small PP boyfriend, who was currently examining the bathroom floor. Succeeded the field mission, and we promptly left. And then we were sent on our first proper mission to capture 009. I asked Q what my disguise would be, and MI6 had decided to make me the Uber driver. Fantastic. We landed in Slovakia and drove to the mansion where our mission was taking place. While the team were inside enjoying the event, sipping cocktails, we were sitting in the car park waiting for our next job to come in. Then, in the corner of my eye, a suspicious bellboy doing the genuinely terrible job of offloading luggage caught our attention.
Not exactly the 5-star treatment.
And we needed to understand why he was so bad. Getting in required a pass, so rather than using the front door like a normal person, we lit some leaves on fire and went through the side entrance instead.
Gate crashing a black tie event. Haven't done that since final year.
We sleuthed around the mansion looking for clues on where this blonde ball bag had gone, and tracked him to the laundry room, but we needed a cellar key to enter. We stumbled to an important office, and alongside the collection vino was a safe we cracked open and conveniently had the cellar key in it, so we took it. We head downstairs, and a collection of bodyguards were stationed between us and wherever the bellboy had gone, and we had to come up with a plan. We turned on the Hoover, and two of them became absolutely fascinated by the concept of this possessed machine.
Look into my eyes, look into my eyes. The eyes, not around the eyes, don't look around the eyes, look into my eyes. You're under.
The kind of curiosity that will get you knocked unconscious. We worked through the remaining enemies using the shelves and washing machines, and at this point, the Q lens as well, which admittedly felt like it was going against the spirit of the challenge, so after this section, we stopped using it entirely. We made it into the bellboy's room, figured out he moved to the room 206. We then stole a key from the maid, interrupted a luxurious bubble bath, and found room 206 looking like an aftermath of a European kink sesh. The housemaid interrupted us.
Housekeeping.
We spotted the blonde man now dressed as a chef. Is this Agent 47 or something? We chased him through the kitchen and into a room with a secret passage behind the bookcase, and followed him down to the wine cellar. We told Monroe to intercept, and he intercepted the blonde man's knife with his body instead. We then proceeded to give him the VIP sommelier treatment and introduced him to our collection of vintage Merlot and Chardonnay. Then one became two. Standing in a wine cellar facing both of them simultaneously, we felt a bit like Morpheus in Matrix Reloaded. They ran off when they spotted the bomb timer ticking down, leaving us to deal with it, and we defused it with the same technical precision we applied to the nerve agent antidote earlier. Touch everything and pray. We saved one bomb and missed the second. This shit got real, and we couldn't let 009 escape, so the chase was on. And an Aston Martin to be specific, and with a familiar passenger alongside us.
Housekeeping?
We tracked 009 down to an airstrip, and this is where the pistol run officially began. We aimed for headshots and shot anything red and shiny, because the ammo economy was expensive and our salary couldn't cover it. We fought our way onto the cargo plane, hacked the flight balance to let the cargo do the work, giving our arms a bit of a break before we punched the rest. We then went to a freefall out of the plane, and we had to bring out the South London personality and mug someone's parachute at terminal velocity to ensure our safety. Back at MI6, we got briefed on 009's motivations,
We are in the midst of a full-blown diplomatic crisis.
and after leaving our timepiece on the plane, we switched on the Find My app and tracked him down to Mauritania. Hugh tried tempting us to use his gadgets, but we told him to do one. However, what we did want was a standard issue pistol sitting on his table.
Now we're talking.
We then headed for the pirate city.
Tortuga.
Not that pirate city. This pirate city. And before we even arrived, the game disconnected and crashed. Because apparently the real villain of this challenge was IO Interactive Servers. We arrive, got briefly told off for touching our ear too much.
Stop touching your ear.
Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
Had a hazing party hosted by a few locals, and then Bavma introduced himself by offering some well-executed entertainment. We needed to find where 009 was, which required us to enter an auction with a 100k entry fee. And with MI6's frankly terrible pay structure, we didn't have pocket change to give away. We needed money, and fast. The first opportunity required getting into a guarded container. Normally we'd use a gadget to blind or stun a guard and walk straight in like no one's business. But instead, we weaponized customer service, asked the vendor about his incredibly interesting smoke grenades behind him, and walked straight through the back. We then find a container filled with lost expensive art, and before you know it, we were ambushed.
They're close. Get ready.
A round of headshots later, we spoke with an interested art seller and earned half our targeted Patreon goal. Next stop was the fighting pits, where we overheard the organisers saying that they were short a fighter. As someone who both wanted to help and had a strong desire to deliver some justice, we volunteered.
What do you want?
I want to fight.
You look like you couldn't fight your way out of a wet paper bag.
After battling with the servers once again, we headed to the fighting pits for a 3-round bout. We beat the first fighter, beat 2 more, and then the notorious hammer. We received what felt like a 50-ton slog to the cranium and died. We went back in for round 2, with his moveset now fully downloaded into my head jelly, dealt with him properly. We finally earned our 100k. Damn, this is better pay than the MI6. We handed over our entry fee, walked in, and opened with an $8 million bid, and quickly realised that money wasn't good here. We dialed in to our improv practice class, and in a state of panic, we set our bid. We won. We then chatted with Ali, Bavman's second in command, to sign off on the deal. But with a bit of chatting, we convinced him to sell out his boss in exchange for Man United box seats.
Done.
Which honestly might be the most believable political negotiation in this entire
Follow
game.
me this way, gentlemen.
Greenway then followed Ali to 009's location, and with no space for my fat ass, we were ordered to take the scenic route through a dangerous tetanus-filled shipwreckage instead. We soon realised there were enemies dotted around as well. We spotted plenty of our gadget opportunities along the way, but had to ignore them, all relying on our takedowns and improvised solutions, until we got spotted, and then had to improvise even harder. Finally, after using our bluff ability to walk straight past the bloodthirsty pirates, we finally made it to 009's boat, where it felt like a maritime Home Alone remake, with grenades and booby traps positioned around every corner.
Another booby trap here.
We navigated through, made it to 009 with fake diamonds in his throat, looked around for some clues and found out he had strong feelings about me and Greenway. We realised that 009 had left clues for us to another boat wreckage, and before we could leave, we got knocked out.
Housekeeping, I presume.
Wait, this place looks familiar. I must be dreaming. We kicked ourselves out of the Helgen dream and found ourselves 180 degrees facing a pit of crocodiles with Bavma and Ali looking upon us. Bavma told Ali he should have negotiated tickets for a better club before cutting him down, and descended us towards the hungry reptiles. We woke up Greenway and he shouted out harmony to Bavma,
Get them out of there! Now!
and for some reason we were let go. And not only that, we were then gifted a Land Rover.
Displeased.
I feel like they might have a bit of history. Then the servers disconnected and the game crashed. After using our eagle vision, we find 009's secret kink room within the wreckage, and within that room contained a self-destructing briefcase with some interesting photo evidence of Greenway's past life.
Either you're somebody or you're nobody. Be right back.
Also inside, we find that 009 wasn't the bomber in Slovakia. He was the target. Before we could register what to do with that information, we were blown into the hardest encounter of the challenge so far, and with only 8 bullets and a dream. During our first attempt, we tried headshot maxing, making sure that we only went for headshots, and we only had 8 projectiles of death we could deliver. We tried doing this behind cover made out of paper mache, and died. Introduced an explosive strategy, shooting anything that can blow up with the thinking that we could take more enemies out with just 1 bullet. We then ran to the right at full speed, and we got more intel as the pistol was sitting on a grate waiting to be picked up. But before I could pick it up, the game crashed. During our third attempt, we found the pistol again, and after shooting it, we realised it was a burst pistol. And in the state of my confusion on what we would class this weapon, we restarted the encounter. 2 more deaths followed before attempt 6, where we talked to ourselves that the burst pistol does come under the rules, and took out 1 enemy. We then dropped it, found a real pistol, and finished the encounter on headshots and the kind of stubbornness that develops after 5 failed attempts at the same room. The next section had been designed around using a sniper, but we refused to pick it up, and so we went in with 2 bullets and a pair of fists. We die 1 more time, and during attempt 3, we find a game-breaking bug. Spamming the dash attack towards enemies produced invincibility frames, and we survived situations we had absolutely no business surviving. Greenway then came busting through like the Kool-Aid man. Oh yeah! Saving our life, and before we could get away, we got blown into oblivion by Goldmember, and we were force-fed a machine gun. Greenway then questioned what the fuck I was doing, and felt compelled to hand over his own pistol, which we took without comment. We put up a fight, getting headshots for days, and when we ran out of ammo, we thought that this would be the end of us. But we got saved by Bavma of all people. Oh shit, the evidence was destroyed. What are we going to do now?
Get out of town for a few days.
We headed home after an awful holiday in Northwest Africa to find an ominous note sitting on our window.
Son, they're gone because of my mistakes.
We didn't write this suicide note. We were then ambushed by 2 intruders. One where we redecorated every surface in our bedroom with his head, and the second in the kitchen whose face was introduced to a hob, because if you break into our flat, you at least deserve a hot meal. A sniper then took out the enemy before we could extract a single useful piece of information, and ran headstrong towards the sniper. We realised it was a Murto brother, and decided the most reasonable course of action here was to drop a 200-foot crane on his head. He unfortunately got away, but we had his goon's phone, which pinged Murto's location to the Web Industries Gala event, and we were severely underdressed. We were told that we needed an invite to get in, and spent 3 full minutes walking circuits of the venue looking for any possible way to get in that didn't involve touching our Q watch. We concluded that there wasn't one, and were forced to use a gadget to progress the mission. After those 3 minutes wasting our time finding an alternative way in, we needed a cure. A liqueur.
What the hell is that? I think he's speaking French. French!
And headed to the bar, where we spotted Murto in the corner of our eye. We followed the Murto's brother's trail into the bathroom, found his broken phone, and after bluffing past security that was frankly embarrassing for a billionaire's private event, we located the Murto brother in the basement and headed down to our first proper boss fight. This brute Scandi walked around the room with a pistol, and every time we tried to punch or perform a takedown, Murto used the eyes in the back of his head and punched back. This meant we were forced to use our Q watch, activating all the machinery and damaging him 2 times before finishing him off by dropping a chandelier on his head and giving him a piercing he'll remember for the rest of his life. That's one annoying brother down. We then bumped into a familiar face,
Housekeeping,
whose name turned out to be Isola, alongside a long-haired cocky bastard called Damien, who gave us a warning about her. We took the free drink he was offering, attempted to get close enough to hack Nicholas Webb's phone for intel, but it seems that we drank too much of the liquid courage as we failed to hack and passed out. We woke up to the Lashifa treatment next to Isola, and we realized that Damien was Nicholas Webb's son and had been behind the Slovakia incident from the beginning. We required hacking into his phone, so we taunted him and took physical abuse until the hack was complete before escaping our shackles and had to find a way out. We quickly dealt with the enemies in the workshop, attacking from above, taking enemies out quietly, and finishing off with a punch-up before going to the courtyard with nothing but a pistol we picked up off the floor. We then make it to the Red Room, and after we found out they killed our doc, we bring out our inner John Wick and got to work. Every enemy in there was armoured from head to nuts, but they were no match for the 2 titanium fists and a service pistol. After clearing every breathing human from the premises, we made it outside, had a brief negotiation with the bin man, and stole the lorry, and crushed every car in the way and got to Greenway. After the attempt on our life, we came up with a plan to infiltrate Web Industries and get hard evidence on the Web family's heinous crimes. We did our best to get through the stealth sections without gadgets, but had to use them just to progress, and on the way through bumped to Isola again, who immediately stole Greenway away while we were sent up to the unnecessarily hidden staircase to Webb's office alone. If the hidden staircase didn't already scream bad guy, the safe being password protected by post-it certainly did. They never learn. We cracked it. Passed Isola the code word.
Basilisk.
Eavesdropped on Nicholas and Damien long enough to learn what the Murto brothers had been involved in, and were then given 4 minutes to get out. We fought through enemies on a timed run, and by the time we landed on the retracting bridge, we had the timing of a secret agent and the stress levels of a man who just heard his Ryanair gate was closing.
Right behind you.
We soon then acquired a white coat, infiltrated the server center, and Greenway demanded we reboot 3 key servers to get us access to the super secret files stored in the system. We dismantled everyone in the way, headed back to Greenway, and discovered that Thayer's predictions had been about as accurate as a stormtrooper's aim.
Thayer makes mistakes.
And Nicholas Webb had been manufacturing the evidence to make it look legitimate.
James Bond.
Nicholas then appeared like a typical villain and attempted to gas us to sleep. Greenway then provided an exit via a missile pen and handed it across. And the only way that pen was ever going to be used was to channel our inner John Wick once again. The encounter that followed required takedowns, charge attacks, and bouncing between enemies like Batman in Free Flow. Our first attempt went well, and our confidence was building, and with our aura at the max, we decided to go toe-to-toe with a red armoured enemy. We slogged at each other until he gave us the anaconda squeeze, threw us hard enough that our head briefly left our body, and we died. After dying again, we finally hit a checkpoint which felt like a game giving us an early mental health intervention. We met the red armoured nemesis again, and this time, instead of risking the brawl, we shot the pipe behind him and let the environment do the work. We then showed every goon in the building how clean the railings were, made it outside the helipad, and our ride was on its way to liftoff. Our only option was to sprint to the control room and make the jump. I'm already exhausted thinking about it. We were a few attempts in, failing and failing again. However, in our final run, we decided to take an unconventional route to make as much noise as possible. Enough to draw the surrounding enemies to a distraction and make enough distance to make the jump to the helipad and escaping the facility. We made it back to MI6 where M showed us footage of myself and Greenway breaking into the multi-million-pound office. I don't think that was me.
He is accusing you of terrorism.
She didn't care. Told us we'd earn a vacation and sent us to Vietnam. Should I be breaking into offices more often? We arrived at the Pearl. Yoga, mental health, relaxation, happy endings. And we're immediately tasked with keeping a close eye on 3 potential targets being hunted thanks to Thea's shite future predicting with Q's liquid. Tracking liquid, sorry Q, needing to find its way onto each of them. We found out that Ramon absolutely loved Pilates, so our only way in was to disguise ourselves as his Pilates instructor. We packed his yoga mat, got lost on our way to his villa, asked Carby Lame for directions, and then, once in, told him that he needed this super secret liquid inside his body to keep him alive. We then found Lorca in the infinity pool, but we were denied entry at the front, so he went around the side. Honestly, I don't understand how these guards didn't even see me. We exchanged hand sweat and a cheeky glance and moved on to Ellis White, who was throwing a party. We broke open the bar and handed him a spiked cocktail to complete the set. By this point, I had tracked 1 man through yoga, 1 woman through flirting, and 1 bloke through alcoholism, a complete wellness retreat experience. We were then told that Lorca's vitals were dropping and sprinted to her location. We arrived and we found the reason why her vitals were slowing down. She was swimming. After turning on the charm, we caused her heart rate to rise again, all by ourselves.
Ah, cheeky boy.
We transitioned to the night, where we were told that Ellis and Lorca had been spotted together at the Emperor Villa, and my insecurities were coming out. So with a pistol in hand, we ran to the villa to sort Ellis out. Because she is my woman! But we soon realised it was surrounded by enemies, and they were in trouble. We cleared the outside of the villa, found our way in, cleared the house, and eventually found Ellis, cold and knocked out. I freed him, and he thanked me by bottling me in the head, so I rescued him slightly more aggressively. Next was Lorca, and we spotted the second human highlighter with her in hand, so we ziplined down and went 1v1 in the fishing hut. This fight was so much easier than his useless brother. The room caught fire mid-fight, and with the temperature rising, our only concern was making sure that this man's head met every available surface. We woke up to a cold feeling on our back, then realised we were tied head to toe on a marble slab with a chainsaw excavator lined vertically down our midsection. And who else but Damien was behind it? He gave us the kind of spiel that made me want to throw my ears into the chainsaw dangling above us, until Greenway started shooting and we escaped the marble prison. The game then tried to force us to tap the left bumper on the enemy in front of us, so Greenway would shoot him. To stay true to the challenge, we just ran. It then felt like we were in a Crash Bandicoot level, sprinting towards the camera. We did not get very far. The game eventually took pity and flipped the camera around, so we sprinted as far and fast as we could until we were released from our cuffs by Greenway and were handed an assault rifle. Funny, considering we wouldn't be using it one bit. The next encounter would normally be solved with that assault rifle. We used our fist instead, exploiting the invincible dash attack, and got through half the battalion before dying. After that, I then accidentally picked up a shotgun, shot at someone, and hit restart immediately. Finally fought through the sea of enemies until we saw Greenway cornered, and the only vehicle available was an even bigger lorry. After picking them up, we charged through the construction site until the game forced us into a sniper session. But I realised quite early that if we just waited it out, we didn't have to use a sniper at all. We only needed to survive long enough for Greenway to jumpstart the engine. So we survived and we escaped. Greenway then got shot covering us while we chased Damien down, and it looked like we were about to have a fair fight. Until the glossy faced twat injected himself with an enhancing substance. I guess all it did was make his negative aura even more negative. The next phase wasn't an issue at all, as we just had to blind him a few times, following up with the Haymaker Express and throwing some workshop equipment. Lastly, we politely asked him to pipe up to end the boss battle. We went back to Greenway and we were told we were too late to save him, which makes sense considering he doesn't appear in any of the 27 Bond films over the last 70-ish years. But after everything Greenway died for, MI6 still folded to Webb's demands, and for once we were left pissed off at every organisation we were working for. So we did something about it. We'd overheard Damien mention something called Hyperion, and the theory wrote itself. MI6 had no breaches to Thea, yet Webb somehow kept sending Damien out to fix its predictions before they happened. The only explanation was a second computer. Moneypenny warned us that pulling on the string was treason against the very organisation we were working for.
High treason.
So naturally we pulled on the string. We got our kit together and were contacted by Solar, who was on the same page about hunting Webb down, and who told us the supposed supercomputer was sitting in the Arctic Circle.
We leave in 24 hours.
A submarine picked us up, and before we went diving to the base, we first did a little bit of diving on a Solar. We arrived outside Webb's R&D base and got in the way we always do, by quietly removing everyone between us and the front door with our newly acquired silenced weapon. Getting onto the main elevator required 2 ID badges. One lifted from a passed out passenger, and one that had no gadget free solution, so we noted the rule break, hacked the HR phone, and borrowed David Somerset's identity. The world's largest lift took us up to the main base, where a sophisticated robot receptionist immediately noticed we looked nothing like David Somerset, before Isola resolved the situation with an EMP shot.
Take this pistol attachment.
She handed us one of our own, and it became one of the tools we'd lean on for the rest of the base. The robotics department forced the Q watch on us, taking control of Reki, playing the piano, and opening the back wall and EMPing the robot in the back, which called in a robot hoover, opening the back door and walking us straight in. Honestly, a serious security problem. We upgraded our badge, made it to the central computer with Solar, and found what Webb was really planning. A full takeover of Parliament. The alarm went off and every guard in the base was drawn to our position, but we only had 2 bullets in our gun. We tried route after route, died repeatedly, and sprinted for the lift. We managed to hitch the switch and died. However, we respawned right at the lift. Blessed isn't quite the right word. On the way out, a robot smashed through a window to us, Terminator style, and I was genuinely terrified. We ran circuits of the room, shooting the red explosive boxes whenever it got close, until the machine finally stayed down. Then Reki returned, and this time we had to pilot it ourselves through a room of indestructible kill robots. My worst nightmare made it playable. We directed it through a fan and had to climb down through the same fan we just electrocuted. Admittedly, that took 10 minutes to work out. We won't be discussing it any further. Finally, we reached Hyperion, a second supercomputer, exactly where the theory said it would be. We were right. And before we could do a single thing about it, Nicholas Webb appeared with a pistol and a dead man switch. Kill him, and every MI6 file goes public. A genuinely difficult dilemma that required careful thought. Then, Isola shot him. Thanks for that. She grabbed the Hyperion drive, the base went into lockdown, and the chase was on. Out onto the water, onto speedboats, with the game prompting us to press square and open fire from the boat's mounted turret. In our challenge by now, we chased her peacefully, at high speed, while being shot at by absolutely everyone not firing the turret once. We caught up, put a bullet in the Hyperion drive, and got extracted back to London, where MI6 was waiting for us, and they were not happy. MI6 locked me and a Solar up for treason. Adjacent heroism while they figured out what to do with us. Until the alarms went off, mercenaries started infiltrating the building, and suddenly the prisoners were the most useful people in it. While the Solo went to escape, we fought our way through the base, charging at enemies, punching them into the floor, stealing a pistol off one of them, and putting it to work. If there was ever an opportunity to drop something heavy on someone, we took it, sending ceiling lights down onto unsuspecting heads and setting off a smoke to cover our movement until we reached the red phone and sent an alert up to M. We headed down to find Moneypenny, and the encounters were getting noticeably harder. More armoured enemies, more headshot resistance, and a growing requirement to actually think rather than just aim. We died, changed strategy, went left instead, took down multiple enemies, tried to light a bin on fire as a distraction for the door guards, which failed completely. Then took a deep breath, walked in behind them, and hoped they wouldn't turn around. They didn't. We made it to Moneypenny's office and were immediately ambushed. Enemies swarmed across 3 different levels, and a sniper killed us twice in a row before we locked in. Destroyed the first, sprinted underneath the second, and cleared the encounter. Then the reveal. Damien wasn't dead. He was back, in a souped up armour, and he'd come for Thea. And after getting it, he gave Moneypenny a memorable gift. We chased him down to Q-Lab, where the lab is normally a playground. Every device designed to be triggered by the Q-Watch to clear enemies for you. We activated them manually instead, sneaking between stations, taking enemies down by hand, flipping the devices ourselves, and after beating the piss out of everyone in the room, we initiated the laptop override, which triggered even more enemies, and this time, we leaned on the turrets, the lasers, and our trusty pistol to hold down the line. The game then put us in Valhalla and forced the vehicle's weapons on us. For this section, and this section only, we had to obey. We chased Damien down into the pits of the lab, and this is where the entire challenge came down to one fight. The final boss of 007 First Light is built around the Q-Watch. The arena is filled with interactable machinery, pipes, barrels, systems, all designed to be triggered remotely, because the game assumes that when things get desperate, you reach for your wrist. 10 chapters ago, against the first Moto brother, the game forced our hand and there was nothing we could do about it. This time, we had other plans. We reached for our pistol. Damien moved like he injected the speed force into his veins.
My name is Barry Allen. I am the fastest man alive.
Alongside everything else, and there were plenty of deaths as he ran us down with his pulse ability locked on. The strategy became a patient game of running, hiding, and leading him towards the explosive pipes and red barrels like a lamb to the slaughter. And then one shot to the pipe above him and one shot to the barrel beside him, and the man fell. The fight the game built around a gadget finished with a pistol. Not only because we got lucky, because we just spent the last 9 chapters learning that whatever was bolted to the floor would eventually be the answer. Phase 2 gave Damon control of 2 turrets, and us a parkour route to each one of them. The first we timed manually, took one hit on the way through, hacked it, and turned it on Damien. The second hit like a truck and killed us 3 times before we finally timed the run, made it across, and hacked that one too. We brought Damien to our own gun show and defeated him with his own firmware. A final Q2E battle, and Damien, beaten, furious, decided that if he was going down, we were going with him. Into the water we went, and for a moment, we nearly accepted it.
Hello, how are you? I am under the water. Please help me.
Until the lovely Asola pulled us out. and then stole Thea. Of course she did. We finally said goodbye to Greenway at his funeral, and we finally earned the number that holds significant weight. 007.
Happens to be my lucky number.
And if you made it to the end of the video, I just want to say huge thank you for watching all the way through. This video had a huge amount of work go into it, being able to complete a game as new as 007 Last Light with just a pistol and no gadgets, but a really fun spin to the game. And I really hope that IO Interactive gives more options on how to complete these levels without the use of gadgets, and use a bit more of a Bond way of solving problems. If you like these kind of challenges, please let me know. Drop me a like and comment on this video, it really does mean a lot. And even subscribe to me if you'd like to see more sort of challenge videos later on down the line. I'm trying to build a library right now of what challenges I could do. New games, old. If there's anything that you guys think I should try, please let me know, and I'll put that into a library and we can give it a go. So if you like this, please let me know. I've been Jukin, and thank you again for watching.